Hi, loves. It's Juwan here with Simple Syrup Life Moments, whatever you want to call it. I wanted to share this message because I think it's a message that a lot of people don't talk about. And there's all forms of addiction. May it be weed, coke, alcohol, food, whatever. There's all types of addictions. And the things I've learned through my own history of abusing alcohol and other things as I grew up and not understanding why I did it, I just knew I felt good in the moment. In your head, you feel like I'm just letting go of my issues, but really, we're submerging them. We act out on the last emotion that was unresolved, which is when you get your angry drunks or your depressed junkie or whatever you want to call yourself, whatever title there is. It comes back down to that moment of recognizing, accepting, and saying that I have unresolved trauma. We are all innately built with trauma in us. May it be generational, may it be transcendental, whatever, transcendental from another star seeds and people who know that like I'm not meant for this earth. Like, yeah, my soul has been here before. There is a moment where we replay our own karma out every single day. In my belief, I feel that if the energy of this earth is within this atmosphere and we are still breathing that same air since the beginning of time and the same earth we walk on and the same water that we as humans cannot replicate but really just act like we can, that means that there's a possibility that I am a soul reincarnated over and over and over, or I am from another galaxy, another whatever you want to call it. The point that I'm trying to prove is that we all innately know that there is a life within us that is beyond this shell that we do not control, that we cannot change, but we can definitely allow and accept to grow. When you grow past your ego, then you are able to grow past addictions, trauma, abuse, whatever, because it does become about a level of forgiveness that is not for the outside world. It never was. You don't have to apologize to anyone, but we do it because it's polite. But sometimes being polite hurts you, right? Because you know that it wasn't sincere or that you didn't mean it the way that you invoked it to come off. When you're really in tune with a genuine heart and you're really intact with your soul, you see empathy, you see lack of love, or you see, oh my God, they need a hug. I've been there before. Oh my God, I can't imagine what that's like. But to see you in such distress hurts me enough that I know I need to step up and step forward. Stepping up is saying, I am here. I raise my hand. Let me do this journey through this history of damage. Because at the end of the day, you have to remember, if you argue in front of your children, if you yell at each other a lot, if you encourage them, be a man, don't cry. Girl, you better, only girls do this. Anytime you fall back into that old system of titling was there to make someone else feel better. Let me put a label on you because I don't know what you are. And because there's enough of us who agree, this is who you are. This is what happens to people when they fall into the bullying system. They fall into not having self-love. How do you project self-love in a place that constantly beats you down? And this is where the inner thinking, the inner intuition, the knowing that is, Jawan, you were drinking a lot because you were sad and lonely and you didn't know how to process that. Because we all have families and we all have friends, but we all, as kids, went back to our rooms, some with siblings, some without, and laid in bed and by ourselves and thought and dreamed and said, who am I? What am I doing? What is this? Does it go like this all the time forever? Do things change? Am I to be myself or my parents? Am I? Lineage is so thick in the air, and yet we spit on it as if, ugh, these old customs, these old traditions. They knew something we didn't know. But unfortunately, we get complacent and we allow society, which is basically a projected reality of other people's perceived perspectives of themselves, given to them by their parents, their families, their teacher, and a mirror who they are, when inside it's really that soul connection. And when you think and listen to the soul, not just think forward, because you can't, when you think about what the soul is saying to you and you feel what the soul is trying to project into you, that's when you say, oh, I get it. I am always connected to the source. This beating heart feeds this thinking mind, okay? Never get lost in translation and think that this is your mind, that this is you, that this is your voice. This is an organ that has perceived what it sees to survive. You know how a dog is man's best friend? Because over centuries of time, it's learned, as long as I'm cute and nice, they gonna keep feeding me and I get to chill in the house. That's human beings, honey. This is all pre-thought. Everything I'm saying, this is coming from universe. This is coming from my heart chakra, where love lies and love can only breathe, because it's all it does is keep us alive without ever asking permission. It never takes a break. It never gets a break. Do you stop and say thank you to your heart and really feel it? Feel it. That's when the you and the I and the me become connected. The collective consciousness of being saying, we feel it. I experience it. I just know. Unapologetically, I just know. This is ego, soul, and God. God is that thing, that voice, that essence of absence that connects everything to make it bind. There is no linear black or white, because as soon as you get to the finite point, it's gray. There is no bad or good, because there's always someone in the middle who's good enough at being bad and bad enough at being good. This is the point of creation. When a female body presses from the soul back to the vessel, throughout and it's physical, birth is painful. When a seed bursts out of that shell to sprout its first breath, you better believe it's painful. Just because we're not a seed and we say, oh, it's not conscious, who cares what you believe is conscious? Because what you believe has been given to you. None of it is your thought. In order to have a belief, it means that you were subjected to someone else's thought, and then you had to process it for it to become your belief. Therefore, it is not yours to own. So when someone says, I don't believe, I don't think that way, you just told God, you ain't doing enough for me to care about myself. And that's when God says, okay. Just like a beautiful father, mother figure that the universe embodies all, it says, I'm going to cater to your free will. I'm going to be there for you. I'm going to show up. But every time you think that your free will, your ego is in charge, you're going to keep learning a lesson. And every time you break that lesson and forbid me on top of that, it's going to become a karmatic lesson. So now your granddaughter's going to learn it, your next grandkid, your mama, everybody going to go through it. Why? Because we have a history of embedded fear of loving yourself. We have been trained and disciplined to not love ourselves. Love everybody else. But you don't learn how to love yourself? How does that work? You can't love anyone if you don't love yourself, because you will genuinely never be empathetically connected to knowing that love is so pure that you don't think without, you don't give without thinking, you don't speak without thinking, because you want to understand that the person that you see, you hear. That makes sense? This is why you want to allow yourself to detox on certain things. I mean, I'm not saying I don't have a glass of wine or something, but I don't drink anymore. I stopped doing a lot of the things I was doing. I got healthy. I became a vegan for myself. Whatever was attached to the stigma of that, I became a vegan for me, because I knew that there is something in this universe that's been here and prevailing longer than I have, and that's nature. And things in nature are not really living off of each other the way humans do. They are democracy, working as one. Yes, there's a survival of the fittest. Yes, there's an alpha and a beta. Yes, one species might kill another. But they always take only what they need to survive, to feed their family, or the tribe to share. We as humans have become so connectedly conduced to believing anything we say, do, touch, make, it's us. And then you get everything you want in the world, all the riches, all the money, and guess what? You're still sad, because the one thing I've learned in life, it don't matter how high of a title or what position you have in life, everybody want a hug. Everybody wants love. Everybody wants love. Oh, I want to be single, but you still want to be loved and adored by society. Oh, I want to be in a relationship. That's great, but you still have to love yourself enough to appreciate why you deserve to be in a relationship. Because if you can't do that, the other person's going to see it too. It is all full circle. When you take the distractions out of your life, you have more time to prioritize your loves. I'm not bashing anyone for anything that anyone does, but what I want to get away from is, remember, addictions start out as a choice. Trauma related to history of our family, our upbringing, our lineage, that takes a team. And if we don't do it as a team, it is not going to happen as a global universal rule, because we're still too stuck in me first. No, I put me first, because I love my life to see how much I love another's. Me first is me, 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 me. I don't care if you die. Me, 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 me. Yeah, there's people who think that way. I love everybody, and I don't mean it this way, but lady can get hit by a bus. Did you just wish death upon someone as you said you believe in life? That is an oxymoron beyond an oxymoron. And if you do not keep truth into your speech, gratitude, and true empathy, you could say, you know what? I don't really care for that person. I love everyone, but in this moment, I don't really like them. And that's okay. Universe will say, yes, love, that's okay. But to wish ill upon someone else, now we have this vengeance, this control, this competition, this thing that should not exist between anyone else, because no one else is better than anyone else. Let me tell you, I worked in the hospital doing hospice care and other different things. And at the end of the day, no matter what age or what point in life, if they got hurt or were bedbound, I was wiping their ass. Do you understand what I mean? You wake up every day and wipe your ass and don't think about it, but you don't realize that's a privilege given to you. Because first of all, you can get up and do it. And if you are in a situation where someone can help you wipe your ass, that means you cared about somewhere, because there's somebody out there right now can't even wipe their own butt, ain't got nobody around them who loves them, and they don't understand why. Honey, Trauma will take you out this world so fast and have you believing that it's normal to hate. And it's not. Normalcy of it's always been this way. It's always going to be this way. You're speaking defeat into a mind and out of a mouth of creation. Say it. Oh, I'm going to be a doctor, or I'm going to have a house here. I'm going to have this kind of car. I'm going to do this. That's manifesting. Just because you put in the work, because you're supposed to, just like a seed take time to grow, to bear that fruit. Yeah, you got to do a little lab work. And sometimes, hey, you born into the fruit and you got all the bounty of the whatever you need. That means you have the privilege of producing more and giving back, teaching, helping, not boastfully showing off and having nothing else to go for it, because I can care less how much you own or what you got, because if you don't know how to love yourself, guess what you're going to do? Spend money on men and women, on clothes and food. You're going to spend all of that tangible power that gives you make-believe power that actually surrenders you to a person who only seeks value through things. And if you can't give those things, then you devalue yourself. And then you go into a depression. And then you start drinking. And then you start doing this. And then you start acting out. And guess what society does? Oh, they're just sad. They're just depressed. Hug them. Talk to them. Ask them questions. Get involved. Because that's what people need. That's what we need more than ever. Let me ask you, how are you doing? No, really, how are you doing? You ain't got to talk to me about everything, but you got to tell me something that's honest. Because if you hold others accountable, guess who's going to do it back? People going to hold you accountable. It ain't going to feel good either. But you've got to sit through that emotion and allow it to happen, because that's what growth is. Growth and creation are not painless. Love is not painless, but love is also not trying to hurt you, nor is its intent to make you feel hurt. Love is to show you, to make you understand that you can think all of the thoughts you want and create whatever you want. But the one thing that you cannot create is the love of God, which is learning how to love thyself. Because when you love yourself, you say, thank you, Creator, for creating me. Thank you for taking the time for your great design to allow me to manifest into this physical form spiritually, to walk around and feel finally what you create, what we create, what I create. Because what we, I, me, all of that is God. Your mother didn't create you because your mother didn't create herself, and so on and so forth. This is not about what humans can pass along. This is about where we came from. Trace the pathology. There are so many other creatures on this earth. You think that we just popped up like we're superior? No. We just were conscious beings that were sitting here to enjoy this beautiful land that existed prior to us. For eons before us, billions and billions of years before humans. With all this said, this is a very long video because I want it to be a testimonial to say, I had to stop hating myself because I convinced myself that it was okay to do it. And when I really listened to myself say it out loud, Jawan, you're gay. Okay, but what does that mean? Look in the mirror and say it. You're a gay black man. What does that mean? I don't even know. What does that mean? And I had to break it down because I would always feel bad around black people, and I would always feel weird around gay people, and then I would always feel weird around other ethnicities, but I fit in best with the outsiders, the outcasts, because I knew that there was something different in me that said, this isn't your body. but you're supposed to appreciate it. You're supposed to appreciate this life. And I always got that as a child, and I took that and I ran with it and I believed in it and I kept it. And as I aged, I got angrier and angrier and angrier because I started feeling like you took this away from me. Everyone took everything away from me. No one gave me an option. And that's where anger and trauma comes from, because we are spirit beings, multifunctional beings who have sent here from multi-dimensional places to relive karma, to say, I know that I could do better for humanity because I've always had the power to do better for myself. It only literally takes one person, and we've done this, we've said it, we've proven it over and over and over again. It only takes one cell to become cancerous, to spread and metastasize, to make the whole organ infected, or it only takes one cell becoming healthy to give the other ones enough tissue and blood to regenerate them back to life. It is all in perspective, but it's all in us. We do not cut ourselves and heal ourselves. Our body does that through its own divine design, because it is a mechanism to help your soul discover your soul purpose. I was depressed, I was sad, I was mad, it was everything in the book, but happy. But I knew I loved, and I knew what love was, and I knew that I knew how love felt, but I just hadn't experienced it. And knowing that I knew something I hadn't experienced made me, that's what God is. That's what love is. That's what humanity is. That's what growth is. Recognizing when you say, I knew all along, but at the same time, I knew nothing. Because when I stopped believing that it came from me, or it belonged to me, or it happened to me, I was always going to take it as a negative thing, because it was like a power tool. You never worked. What am I supposed to do with this? What is this? But if you take the time to really read the manual, play with it a little bit, see what the tool does, you start applying it to your life, a lot of that sadness starts to shed. A lot of that hatred of self sheds. Because honestly, when you say you're mad at someone or you hate someone, you hate a part of yourself. Something about that person can get you going and you don't like it. And honey, guess what that is? That is past life regression or a childhood trauma. Trust it, believe it, go with your intuition, because when you retrust your intuition and you give it its voice back, which is through the root chakra, which is there for creation, and you go to your next chakra and you got your groin, and you go to your gut and that intuition, and it keeps hitting you in the chest by the heart, like, let me out, I know what I'm doing. And you're like, no, hold it in, don't deal with it. Your heart has to swallow that darkness. And then your intuition gets put into a jail cell. And you don't trust it. And it tries to tell you, please trust me. And you say, how did I get into this? How did I get into this life? How did I get into this feeling? Because you stopped trusting your intuition. You lock them away. And you never even take them to trial. Honey, you gotta chase the pathology. Take it all to trial. When you take it to your emotional trial room and say, why are you so angry, defendant? Because, Okay, let's cross-examine this one. So, back in 1990-something, when you were about 6 years old, you saw your father yell at your mother, and your mother yell back at your father. And then he hit her, and you said, what just happened? And she told you, it's okay, baby, Daddy loves us, it's okay. And she shooed you off, and you went away, and everything was just fine. But then you get drunk and all of a sudden you get angry and you start yelling at your wife or your boyfriend or your girlfriend, and you don't know where it comes from. It's just, you get angry when you think of something. That's emotional intelligence. That's how you trace back the pathology of where you came from and who you became through observed perception, which then emotionally taught you how to guard protect or submerge. And this is where traumas come out, behavioral issues. Remember, I learned something from dogs that you can get from cats or anything else. It's all the same thing. You get behavior, then you get, well, first you get temperament and behavior. They're interchangeable. And then you get the personality. When you get through someone's temperament, why are you so mad? Why are you so, because their temperament has not allowed them to break a behavior that is so comfortable. But they hate it. Their personality hates it. That's why when people get drunk or whatever, they're so happy and carefree, because finally they're not fighting the ego to let go of the perception of the world's blockages. They're not here for us to talk about or ask about. You don't need permission. All I'm here to tell you is you don't need permission. If you watched this whole video, you didn't need permission, but I thank you. This is just a simple message coming across to say, hey, things are real in this world. It's all real in this world. But it's also changeable. It doesn't need to be fixed. It's changeable. Fixing something is patching it up. I don't want to patch up. Like, look at this wall behind me. Somebody patch that wall up. That thing's still going to buckle at some point. But for now, it's holding everything together. This has been a history of humans forever. We did enough patching. All right, we're good. Everybody's happy. No more, nothing to worry about. No, honey. Who sold you the material to patch that wall up? Who made you think just patching up a big old crack that's going to fall, that's holding a foundation, is going to work? Leaders. Doesn't matter what level. Community leaders, church leaders, politicians, global. The point is these were all regular human beings that you all said could talk for you, and you elevated them up through, for some reason, that they can do whatever they want. That's all a celebrity is me and you, that we watch and we're entertained by because they're talented or whatever the reason. Excuse me. Some flew in my throat. Talk a little long. That happens. But that's it. I just always sit back and say, no one said Einstein was Einstein when he was what he was. He just believed in his passion and his theories and documented enough that people could say, let me look at this shit. You might be on to something. And now Einstein is Einstein. Uber wasn't Uber. You had to actually call a cab company from the Yellow Book. And now all you got to do is push it on your little hand computer and bam, a random person comes and picks you up. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? If we can change the perceptual world that we imagine in our minds, which is quantum creation, and then put it back out into the world for us all to use and agree upon, why can we not do this for our emotions and recognize that there are a lot of emotionally traumatized people, men, women, children, whatever, out there running the world based on the legacy of the inequality of love they received or their understanding of. Do you understand what I'm saying? I don't care how smart you are, how intelligent you are, what you can create. If you do not love yourself, you're not going to worry about how other people live or how other people survive or how the environment survives or how other animals need to live to survive. You're not going to care because you know what you're going to do? You're going to convince yourself to dig deep down, go visit your inner child in his little padded cell room and say, see, I told you I protect her. And you're like, but you never let me out. And you're never getting out. You become the thing you hated. In that moment, you parent the whoever, because you won't let your inner child heal and they can't get out to play to see what's changed. So now you're stuck with this dilemma of how do I allow myself to let others in? Let yourself in. And when you let yourself in, then you start to answer the questions of, you're not broken, honey. I fixed everything on the outside. You don't have to be afraid anymore. You can come out to play. I promise you it's okay now. You can grow up. I grew up too. We're going to grow up together finally. Like, we can finally do it. You don't have to just witness it and we convince you that it's wrong. Because there is no wrong and right when it comes to your emotions. But this is how we convince ourselves that we're bad, we're evil people, we don't deserve anything. I might as well drink myself to death and drug myself to death and be a bitch to everybody and make fun of everything. And I'm just having fun at the expense of another's inability to express how they feel, because you are so insecure by your own that it's easier to point out others' insecurities than to actually deal with the trauma of something from your life, either induced or just observed. These are all options that we have, but the choices that come with those options are, how do I give back and teach? I did a first recorded video because I didn't know how this was going to go because I talk off the top of my head. But starting from here on out, I'm going to start doing live chats. So if you like this and you last this long, then send me in my comment section, love is love is love. And I will know that you watched the whole video, and I will continue to just talk with you guys live and have a conversation. And like, we got to get through this. If we don't really allow the nurturers and the mamas and the lovers to come out and really just, come on, baby, come give me a hug. Come on. I know you mad. You had a bad day at school. You frustrated. It's okay. Just come on. Come lay down. I got you. I give you a hug. You kiss. You want something to eat. You want to turn on your show. And then while you're comfortable, you want to talk about it. And then we can just let it out. Just let it out. Because when you let it out, you breathe again. Just like your emotions are everything you breathe, see, eat, touch, see, everything. That's why it's perception. So start taking care of yourself. Start listening to your emotions. Allow them to move through you. Don't hold on to them. Hold on to the memories, but do not hold on to the emotions of everything. Learn how to detether, detach, uproot, but you do not have to drop your fruit or lose your seeds. You're just planting yourself in more fertile soil. All right, guys, I love you so much. I thank you for watching. Be blessed. Take care of yourselves. And please, 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 if you feel you ever need to talk, reach out. I got you. I am here 24/7. All right. I love you guys. Mwah. Sorry for that dry lip.